Okay, well, welcome everyone to our update number 2 for the Northern Ontario Gigabit Fibre project. For those who joined us in February, you'll recall that we had some exciting updates on the design side of the project. And so today we're kind of going to give you some updates on where we progressed since early February 7th, when we had the last call. My name is Joe Hickey. I'm the president of PomeGran and the founder and president of Rock Networks, the company that was acquired by PomeGran and is the lead business unit for the Northern Ontario Gigabit Fibre project. In today's agenda, we're going to have a welcome from our chairman and CEO of PomeGran, Kalai. Then Ashraf, our director of program management, our project management for the company. We'll talk about the project overview and scope, provide some updates, and give some views on the phases of construction across the project region, because it's a very large geographical area, as everybody in the region knows. And then at the end of the session, we'll have a progress video that our marketing team has put together, which encapsulates all the highlights and gives a very good view. And then we'll open up to Q&A. With that, I'd like to turn over to Kalai Kalachelvan, our chairman and CEO, and he'll provide some welcome remarks. Kalai?
Thanks, Joe. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kalai Kalachelvan, chairman and CEO of PomeGran. I want to welcome all of you for this webinar, and definitely thanks to the community leaders, stakeholders, and partners and media for joining us in this particular webinar. This project is definitely a game changer for the rural and indigenous communities, and it is a game changer for PomeGran too. And this is really providing the gigabit speed internet to over 18,000 homes in Northern Ontario. So this webinar will really provide the project updates. And as I mentioned to you in the last webinar, this is going to be the series of webinars we will be conducting. We are hoping to conduct quite often, so that this is the area where you can really get a quick overview of where we are in this project. And I am really looking forward to hearing from you. If there's any feedback you have and anything else you would like to hear from us more on this kind of forum. With that, I'll pass it on to Joe.
Thank you, Kalai. So quick high level from the discussion that Kalai started with. The scope of the project is 18,663 underserved homes. 2,580 of them are Indigenous households across 13 Indigenous communities. The geographic scope of the project is pretty large, over 50,000 square kilometers, covering communities from Lively to Garden River up to Elliott Lake and down into Manitoulin Island. And funding from the program comes from the Universal Broadband Fund from the federal government, the Internet Connectivity Program from Ontario. Project-based financing is provided by Canada Infrastructure Bank, or CIB, an agency of the federal government, and Stonebridge Financial, and of course the equity contribution for the project from PomeGran. As I talked at the beginning, in February we had our first kickoff webinar, and since then we've moved from the survey and design phase to the construction phase of the network. So we have construction well underway, and we're super excited to give you those updates today in multiple regions near Sault Ste. Marie, Echo Bay, Sudbury, and Lively in the east end, and the southern part of our project, Manitoulin Island. And then next we'll expand into Elliott Lake and Blind River. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the central hub installations. This is the active infrastructure that lights the entire network. That's underway. And in parallel, we're deploying the core network in Toronto at 151 Front Street, and that's the on-ramp, if you will, or the gateway to the World Wide Web. Now, to provide you the depth of detail that I'm sure everybody is looking for, I'd like to turn the call over to Ashraf Youssef, our Director of Program Management and the project lead from PomeGran. Ashraf.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon and happy Friday, everyone. Thank you all for joining today for this key progress update of the Northern Ontario Gigabit Fibre project. I would like to extend my warm welcome to our municipal partners, Indigenous leaders, and all the stakeholders. As I'm always saying, your engagement is what keeps this project moving forward. Um, Going through the map, I guess you have seen this map before. The map outlines the extensive footprint of our project, spanning 43 communities, including 13 Indigenous communities across 5 subdivisions. We are delivering on our promise to bring high-speed connectivity to rural and remote regions in Northern Ontario. Now, let's get to the exciting part, our progress. Before we dive into the next sections of our slides, I would like to share some noteworthy milestones we have recently achieved. I'm very happy to say that survey completion is now at 100%. It's an incredible milestone achieved, reflecting hard work of our field teams who had mapped routes, validated households, locations, and captured all the utility data across the project areas. I'm also happy to share that detailed design has been 100% completed, positioning us at the doorstep of finalizing deployments plans and pushing construction activities forward. In terms of permit submissions, we are standing at 62%, reflecting the scale of coordination with municipalities, utility companies, and Indigenous communities. So far, we got the approval of almost 37%, and we are actively working with all the partners to accelerate the remaining reviews for the permits. These metrics reflects the real-time momentum across the design, regulatory, and field construction teams. Again, I would like to thank everyone here for being part of the journey. And now let me walk you through the construction deployment progress in more details, starting with where we have already installed our fiber hubs cabinets and powered up key network infrastructures. So for this map, you can see in this map, let's take a moment and look at this map, which gives us a clear picture of where we stand across the municipalities and First Nations communities involved in H&M project, the fiber project. Before I get into the map details, let me quickly explain what an OLT is, because I will be speaking about OLT fiber hubs. So OLT stands for optical line terminal. You can think of it as a central hub or the starting point of our fiber network in each area. It's where the internet signal begins before it travels through the fiber lines to the homes and businesses. So wherever we are installing an OLT or a fiber hub, it means that the area is one step closer to getting connected. Now, for the map. The green area on the map represents locations where we have already received approvals. We have 15 approvals, 14 from the municipalities and one from the First Nation community. That's a fantastic progress and shows how committed everyone to make this happen. Pink areas, 3 municipalities where approvals are still pending, and we are working closely with the local leaders to move those forward. You can see the pins in the map as well. Yellow pins where the OLTs or the fiber hubs has been installed. Where the blue pins show where OLT installation is currently in progress. And the red pins where the installation hasn't started yet, but we are lined up and ready to go during Q2 this year, 2025. This map is a great way to visualize how close we are to lighting up homes and businesses across Northern Ontario. If we go through, let's move. So going into some details, now let's take a moment to celebrate the communities where we have already completed the installation of our fiber hubs. As a reminder, I'm always saying that OLT acts as a central connection point for hundreds, maybe thousands of homes and businesses in the surrounding area. You can see in the map, starting from the left, we have Deborah OLT located in Johnson Township in subdivision 4. This cabinet will serve around 1,630 underserved households and 131 businesses. To be connected needs 286 kilometers of fiber. This one is one of our largest fiber footprints to the date. Mentioning about Lively, go to the right side of the map, Lively OLT. You can see here, located in Whitefish in subdivision 5. This cabinet is poised to support 1,086 households through almost 150 kilometers of fiber. And we have a Spanola OLT, which is supposed to serve almost 425 households through almost 100 kilometers of fiber. These installations represent the backbone of our regional build out. Each cabinet brings us one step closer, as I said, to lighting up communities with reliable gigabit speed internet. As we install more cabinet in the coming weeks, even more communities will be joining the network. About this, regarding this map, let's take a look. This is the next wave for our fiber hubs deploying sites. These are communities where we will be soon, as I said, during Q2 this year, we'll be installing the heart of the fiber network. I know that I'm talking a lot about refreshing the OLT as an optical line terminal, central cabinet, a fiber hub. So here in this map, you can find Echo Bay, where it's serving 1,468, San Joseph reaching 1,980, Gore Bay OLT, which is connecting 1,440, and Massey OLT, which is connecting 815 households. And I would like to particularly mentioning Chiging OLT here, serving 1,922 homes. Out of this, 416 homes in the First Nation community. We are so proud to share that this is the first OLT will be installed directly in First Nation land. And we have received the Band Council resolution as of December last year. And this is, I would say it's a historic moment in Chiging, become the first First Nation community to be connected in our gigabit network. Chiging OLT alone is expected to serve around 2,000 homes, mostly our First Nations. We are very excited about these next steps. Each new OLT means another community just weeks away from accessing world-class internet speeds. Moving to the other slides, I would like to take you to see real photos. These are real photos of our installed fiber hubs, OLT cabinets, which are fully on the ground. If you live nearby, you may have already seen these cabinets appear in your neighborhood. It's a clear sign that high-speed internet fiber is just around the corner from your home. We are so proud to be deploying Clearfield cabinets in H&M Coffee project. It's not just any cabinets. It's a model considered as one of the highest end solutions in the telecom industry. Why we choose this solution? When we are building a broadband network in rural or remote areas, we cannot compromise reliability, scalability, and of course, ease of deployment. So this cabinet, if on a very high level, it supports a lot of very, very good features. AC/DC power. What does it mean? It's equipped with battery backups, even generator plugins, which means it stays online even if the power goes out. It's about building a resilient, future-proof infrastructure in rural communities that we can rely on. We are so proud of this progress and the smart choices being made by the project team to ensure long-term performance for the households and the businesses that we will be serving in the area. Now let's walk you through the 6 key phases involved in the OLT construction. These steps are what takes us from a permit to fully operational, community-ready fiber hub. Starting from the municipal consent or the municipal approval. This is considered as a green light. Before anything happens, On the ground, we need formal approval from the municipality or the First Nation leadership to install our cabinet on the public or designated land. Once we have this approval in hand, we begin preparing the physical site, digging, trenching, building the concrete base to support the cabinet to be safely and securely installed. Then the cabinet itself is delivered and installed right on the site after being assembled in our staging facility. This step involves precision to ensure environmental protection, security, and proper integration with the surrounding area. After the installation, we connect the cabinet to the broader fiber internet, to the fiber network. This is where the high-speed internet signal begins its journey to flow in from our main fiber routes. Then we have to get the required permits from Hydro One or Algoma Power. We then activate the cabinet by connecting it to the power grid, including any battery backups or generator systems for added resilience. And finally, we flip the switch, going live and lighting up hundreds, thousands of homes and businesses nearby. Each OLT follows the same path. It's a step-by-step process, and every phase brings us one step closer to delivering fast, reliable, future-proof internet in more communities. This image, I love this image. It captures one of our engineers. It's a key milestones in the backbone of our entire network. The setup of our equipment at 151 Front Street West in Toronto. For those who are unfamiliar with 151 Front Street is one of Canada's most important telecom hubs. It's where all the major internet providers connect and exchange data. For us, it serves as the core aggregation point, essentially the main gateway to the World Wide Web. As of March 31st, I'm proud to say we have fully deployed our core network integration here. This means that the entire H&M Coffee network is now directly on board into PomeGran backbone infrastructure, ready to pass gigabit speed internet to our customers across Northern Ontario once we finish the passive network construction. This wasn't a small task. A big thanks to our engineering team led by Stephen and Alan, and our partners from Nokia for executing this milestone with such precision. Civil work. So this slide gives us behind the scenes. Look at the civil work stage. This is a critical ground work required before installing the OLT or the fiber hub. From excavation to foundation preparation during the winter, during challenging weather conditions. Every step shown here was carried out with a strong focus on safety, precision, and professional standards. You can see our crews working carefully to dig, level, and pour the foundation that will securely hold the OLT cabinet. These steps may not be visible once the cabinet is installed, but they are absolutely essential for long-term durability and performance. We take this phase seriously because building a solid network starts from building a solid foundation. Our team executed this phase efficiently with full compliance with all the safety regulations. Again, thanks to the hard work, each site is fully prepped and ready for the next stage when it comes to the cabinet installation and fiber activation. What you see here is the result of carefully coordinated process, our cabinet installation phase, which brings together some of the top names in the fiber industry, Clearfield and Nokia. Once assembled the cabinet, our field installation is handled by experienced contractors who deploy each unit on site with focused quality, reliability, and performance. This is an end-to-end approach from manufacturing, assembly to professional installations. Ensure that every cabinet is consistent, robust, and ready to serve community from day one. Going to our last slide here, which is the electrical work. Let's take a closer look at the electrical work involved in the powering up the OLT cabinets. This part of the process is just as critical as the fiber itself, and it's built around three key pillars. Safety first. Every step of our electrical setup is carried out with safety as a top priority, not just for our crews, but for the community and the future network users. From grounding systems to wiring protections, we follow strict procedures to avoid any electrical hazards and ensure a long-term reliability. Second, full ESA standards compliance. Before any cabinet is energized, the setup must be reviewed and certified by the Electrical Safety Authority, ESA. This ensures we fully comply with Ontario's safety regulations. One example, ESA Code Rule 10700. This rule governs proper grounding of electrical enclosures, and essential requirements for protecting equipment and ensuring safe operation in all weather conditions. Getting this certification means that our installations are fully approved and secure, giving our teams and residents complete peace of mind. Third one, collaboration with hydro providers. To bring power to our cabinets, we have to work closely with our local electricity providers, Hydro One, Algoma Power. Their support is connecting our infrastructure to the local grid has been critical, especially in rural and remote areas where timeline and access can be challenging. We truly appreciate their cooperation and responsiveness, which allows us to stay on schedule and deliver consistent power to every hub site. Before I wrap up, I just want to say thank you again to everyone joining us today. Your continued support is what drives this project forward. From planning and design to the boots on the ground, this is truly a collective effort. We are so proud of progress we have done so far, and even more excited with what ahead as we bring high-speed fiber to more homes, businesses, and communities across Northern Ontario. With that, I'll now hand it over to Joe to share a few final thoughts. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ashraf. As you can tell, everyone, Ashraf is quite excited by the progress that the team is making. And when you're the project lead, you want to see the progress being made. So as a company, we're quite excited to share the updates with you today. One of the things that the marketing team has been doing in the background is kind of taking photos and videos from the project progress. So what we thought we'd do is kind of share a quick video on the Northern Ontario Gigabit Fibre progress to date. With that, I'll get Nasha to press play. Thank you. So as you can see, great progress being made. We got a few more updates to provide today in terms of some questions that were submitted online prior to the webinar today. So we'll review some of those. But before we do, I'd like to thank some of the key partners that have been working with us. All our active electronics infrastructure, routing, switching, and optical transport gear is provided via Nokia as a key partner. Lightlinks is our fiber and outside plant products main provider. We have two construction companies, Vallard and Tandem, that are currently working on the project. Our design firms were Beamio and Science. So we have partners make it all work together. And then from a funding partners perspective, the Government of Ontario, Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada for the grants supporting the project, and then Canada Infrastructure Bank and Stonebridge Financial for the project-based financing. As you can see, there's many moving parts to make a project of this scope, over $170 million, happen. And the boots are on the ground now, kind of taking it from the design and concept phase to actual real connections, which we'll be happy to update you on in our next review. In terms of some questions that were submitted, we'll jump right into the Q&A session. I should note that this recording is being, will be recorded. This webinar will be recorded today. And so we'll be able to share that for anybody who wants a copy of the recording after. So a few questions have been submitted. What is the plan for Manitoulin Island? So with Manitoulin, as Ashraf shared in the presentation, there's some of the sites that are currently live. And while when we presented in our last webinar, the initial plan was to start in April, but many of these things get delayed somewhat because of permitting approval. So we're updating the timeline right now, and we're looking at late May, early June for first connections on Manitoulin. The second question is regarding secured permissions from Hydro One, so municipalities and private landowners. So during this particular phase, in order to do anything, we need permit approvals. So as part of the construction phase of the network, we make ready submissions, which is the process that you go through to with Hydro One and other local distribution companies such as Algoma Power that allows us to attach the fiber to their poles. So there's a lot of work done on that. And then they issue the permit approvals, which Ashraf indicated we're at around 37% for the network today. Bell also has poles in the region, so we work with multiple companies in order to gain access to their poles. And as well, in order to power the optical line terminal hubs, we need power connectivity, and so the local distribution firms of Algoma or Hydro One would be contacted to allow us to do that. On the municipality side, we require permits for the land in order to locate the OLTs, and then any other permits required by the municipality. We have many municipalities that we're going through as part of this project, over 40 and 13 First Nation Indigenous communities. So there's a lot of work being done. The Ministry of Infrastructure has been a key partner in this, in that they've worked with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, or AMO, to try and create a standardized process for municipal approvals and making it easier for everyone, including the municipalities, to administer. As Ashraf mentioned, for Indigenous communities, we require a band council resolution prior to starting any work on Indigenous lands. And we have 8 of those approved out of the 13 communities that will be deploying fiber. I should note that without a band council resolution, we cannot build on those Indigenous lands. And so Ontario or the federal government requires this whole consultation process in order for us to be eligible for grants to serve those particular areas. The next question is, several of the road segments identified in the project plans fall on private or unassumed roads. How does the project team intend to secure access for installation in these areas? Will written consent from landowners be obtained prior to construction? So I'll turn that one over to Ashraf.
Thank you, Joe. So yes, so private landowners will be asked for a permit approval or consent, a landowner agreement to allow fiber to be deployed in their homes. Without this, we cannot install the fiber to the house. If the second part, if there are any areas on the map where the fiber route passes through private land, then we usually be seeking an easement for this kind of activity. Without the easement, without getting the consent or the agreement from the landowners, we cannot proceed in the fiber construction under the ground. Thank you, Joe. That's I hope I answered. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Ashraf. A significant portion of the planned route includes exposed bedrock or shallow rock cover. Of course, we're operating in the territory of the Canadian Shield, so there's lots of rock around. How does the project plan design or plan to install underground conduit in such areas? Will rock drilling or above ground alternatives be considered? So as Ashraf talked about, the survey and the design phase is now complete. So one of the things we do in the survey phase is basically identify the geotechnical aspects across the region. So where there's soil that is easy to plow in the cable, though that might be an underground option. Where there is bedrock or shallow rock cover, the option is to go for an aerial deployment. If there's difficulty with aerial deployment in those areas, we would then consider an underground deployment, but rock drilling and those types of underground activities is the last resort after we've looked at all other alternatives in order to deploy in that particular area. Next question is, some of the identified routes are seasonally maintained only. Will work be restricted to certain times a year, and how will this affect timelines for service availability? So during the winter portion of our project, things slow down. They don't stop, but they do move at a bit of a slower pace because of weather restrictions and snow cover. As you saw, one of the OLT in one of the sites in Johnson Township was actually snow on the ground. And that was done during the winter season. So we do work. The work is performed during the winter. But if there's seasonally maintained roads, again, as part of the survey and design phase, we would look to avoid those areas if possible as part of our fiber routing of the network. Next slide. Once fiber is installed on private or unassumed road, what is the long-term plan for maintenance? Will easements or service agreements be registered to ensure access? And I'll turn that one over to Ashraf.
Thank you, Joe. That's actually a good question. As a part of the easement with private landowners, we ongoing access for maintenance will be included as well to ensure that we have access to the land during the operation time. For unassumed roads, we are trying our best to optimize the roads and minimize the fiber deployment in these areas because it's gives some sort of challenges for us. So we are minimizing these areas in our fiber deployment through optimizing the fiber routes during the design.
Thanks, Ashraf. The next question comes from Elliott Lake region. So will 25 gig PON be available in Elliott Lake for both residential and commercial clients? Will 25 gig PON be available in the areas listed north of Elliott Lake? So a map that was displayed by Ashraf, where you see all the optical line terminals or hubs, every one of those locations will have a 25 gig PON card in the network architecture from Nokia. So 100% of the area is eligible to be covered by 25 gig PON. The reality is most commercial clients won't, or residential customers won't require 25 gig PON, but if they would like a very high speed gaming experience, it is available. Where we feel that most of these types of advanced technologies like 10 gig and 25 gig PON will be deployed is with commercial clients. So in Elliott Lake, St. Joseph's General Hospital would be an example of that kind of customer that we would be focusing 25 gig PON on, because they have, MRI equipment and need to share very large video and image files back and forth to, hospitals in the Toronto area as an example. So the key message is this is the first rural community area in Canada that will be receiving 25 gig PON. So we're first in Canada for rural to deploy that. And so this is part of not only deploying equipment that is scalable and stable and reliable, but we also want the equipment and technologies that we deploy to be future proof. We expect most customers in the residential space will choose, a 150 megabit package or a 500 meg package or a gigabit or 2 gigabit. Those types of services are typical in the residential space. The final question that we had submitted online is lots of pieces to this question, so I'll read it out and then we'll break it down into its various subcomponents. As the project moves towards initial connections and then broader rollout, what is management's view on strategies in place to ensure, one, operational scalability, two, around workforce, maintenance, and customer support infrastructure in these remote communities? So that's a very detailed question. And so if I break it down into its constituent parts, so let's talk a little bit about operational scalability. So PomeGran and Rock Networks will have capability to monitor the entire network through two network operating centers that we're installing. One is in Toronto at our corporate headquarters in Etobicoke, and then at our new office in Ottawa. And that will enable us to remote monitor and maintain the network on a 24/7 by 365 basis. With the Nokia equipment, to give you one example of how you can do network monitoring remotely, there's a capability called OTDR. So let's say there's a fiber cut somewhere in the network. We can remotely log in and the equipment will send out a light signal and tell you the distance from the OLT in the fiber. And so the service crew will then go to that area to repair the fiber. So a lot of things with this advanced technology can be done on a remote ongoing monitoring basis. The second thing we've done is we are developing and scaling up a group under Jean Lamoureux, who is our new subscriber growth person in the organization. So Jean's been scaling up his team as we move from the construction phase to the operations phase. So this includes things like pre-sales people knocking on your door, asking if you want to have internet delivered to your home. So there's going to be people showing up in the coming months. So please be kind to them when they knock on your door during dinner hours. And so the goal there is soliciting customers to allow us to do a drop to your home and then provide the connectivity inside the home. We'll have inside salespeople who will be calling out to customers. We have field salespeople that will be in the region working with you as well. And then through a series of partners, we have partners to do the drop to the home. So this is from the pole outside your house on the street all the way to the corner of your house. And then we'll also have in-home installation folks. And then after the network is live and customers are being connected, we have post-sales customer service. So some of that staff will be PomeGran full-time people, while others will be partners that we're working with as we scale the network because they're not needed for a long period of time. They're needed as we do the drops and connections in the home. The third piece about operational scalability is we have third-party internet service providers that will also assist in growing the subscriber base, given that this is an open access network, and they will make their own decisions on the number of staff that they hire to address the opportunity, what customer service response times, et cetera, that they will provide to the local community. But our intent is that other ISPs or internet service providers will join the network as well. On the workforce front, this, as I mentioned, is going to be a mix of PomeGran staff and partners. Partners will be primarily used on the drop installs and other short-term related activities. And the plans are currently in place to ramp all aspects of the operations phase that I described as we add subscribers to the network. On the maintenance side, preventative maintenance of the active electronics infrastructure and ongoing break fix is going to be provided by PomeGran and Rock Networks staff, and that's in accordance with a service level agreement that's been signed to operate the Northern Ontario Gigabit Fibre project. And then finally, on the customer support infrastructure, this will be part of the subscriber growth organization. As I mentioned, this will consist of pre-sales, field sales, and customer service staff. So a lot of plans are being put in motion as we look to scale up the network. And in our future webinars, we'll be providing you some updates on that. Some ongoing questions that we get, and we covered this off in our first webinar, in terms of pricing and fees, what's the monthly price for service? And our plan, if there's a third-party internet service provider that's offering service on the wholesale network, they will determine the price that they offer to their customers. And so the intent is that this service will be very competitive to other technologies like Starlink or whatever that you can get in your region. And then each individual ISP or internet service provider will have installation or activation fees, and they will decide whether or not those fees are charged. But again, these fees are expected, if they are charged, to be nominal fees. In terms of equipment costs, will customers rent or purchase equipment, and what are the associated costs? So the intent that we'll have is that the optical network terminal, or ONT, it's a box that goes inside your home that will be provided as part of the network offering. And then the Wi-Fi router, you will be able to choose from the ISP that is deploying the service, or if a PomeGran related staff is providing that service, we will have that equipment for you, and then that can be rented or purchased outright. In terms of speeds, I mentioned earlier, the intent is to have symmetrical speeds, same upload and download speeds. So you might have 150 megabit service, which in terms of the typical service that people in the region have with DSL, they have about 5 megabit download and 1 megabit upload. So that's 30 times faster than your current service. And you can go all the way up to 25 gig, which I won't do the math right now, but obviously much higher speed versus what you're getting now. And in terms of contract terms, it again is up to the individual ISP that is offering the service. They may provide some promotional pricing in exchange for a certain contract terms, but that will be determined by the individual ISPs that are providing services on the open access network. Again, if there's any other questions, you can follow up with us after the webinar and submit them, and we'll be happy to address them on a one-on-one basis. And depending on the types of questions, we can also, in our next webinar update later this year in Q2, we can provide updates there as well. Next slide. So how do you stay and get involved in the project? So if you scan the QR code on the screen, that will take you to our LinkedIn site. You can follow us on LinkedIn or on Facebook. And as we start rolling out live services in the community, we are very much encouraging folks to share your community stories and testimonials and engage with us on social media as we build the network out. Next slide. If you're an attendee today from one of the local municipalities or First Nation Indigenous communities, we do have community marketing material that can be provided. Please reach out to Nadine Mansour, our VP of Marketing. And those types of material can be provided to you for newsletters that you send out to your community to let them know, high-speed multi-gigabit internet is coming to your community. So we are very much there to support you in communicating to your customer base. And on behalf of the team, I'd like to thank you for attending today, and then I'll turn it back over to Kalai with some closing thoughts.
Thank you, Joe. I want to thank everyone again for attending this session. And as you can see from the excitement of Joe and Ashraf, the project is progressing very well. Obviously, a lot of challenges. And our job is to see how do we overcome the challenges, at the same time, deliver what we promised. So, and your participation and your support is very critical. As you saw in the chart, there are multiple ways we are communicating to the community, to the partners, whether it is Facebook, LinkedIn, and our website. And we are constantly, our marketing is showing all the successes as and when it is happening. But this forum is the one which we have kind of like every month or every 2 months. We kind of come up and then say, on a comprehensive way, we are able to address these things. And then it is very important that you participate, and then probably you should really communicate with the other people so that everyone should participate. And the more the participation, this project is going to be even more successful. So this kind of a presentation could not have been done without by ourselves. Our project management team has been providing a lot of information for this. Most importantly, the marketing team has put in a lot of effort. As you can see, they pick and choose all the photographs and videos and collecting the content and then pulling this together. And I want to take this opportunity to thank our marketing team to make this happen. And we will keep you posted. You keep us connected in this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Clyde. That concludes our webinar for today. And for those who would like copies of the recording, please follow up with the marketing team, nadine.mansour@rocknetworks.com. And we look forward to inviting you and you inviting all of your friends to come to our next update in the next couple of months. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your weekend.